So if you have the drop-in AI chat enabled within the drop-in suite, you will now be able to access all the configurations and the question and answer form directly in the guest space dashboard. If you navigate downwards in the sidebar all the way down to agent config, right here you will see all the different settings and configurations to set everything up yourself. On the top side of the screen, we have the configurations with regards to the personality of the agent. Here you have the agent's name, but also the agent's signature. The difference between the two is that the name itself is how the agent refers to themselves when they are having a conversation with the guest, but the signature is the sign off at the end of a conversation so that you can signify to the guests that this is an AI agent and not just a normal staff member jumping into a conversation. So it might be useful, especially if you find this important, that the guest knows that this is an AI that's conversing with them. You can add here your AI assistant, or however else you want this to be called, the AI concierge, the AI front desk staff member, that can be placed right here. And now we have a really cool new functionality, which is system instructions, where you can start building the personality that you want and how they formulate the messages to the guests. So if you're a more high-end hotel that wants the conversation to be a bit more formal and polite, then you can specify that right here. If you want it to be a bit more informal because you have younger guests, you want it to maybe use emojis, be a bit more spoken towards a younger audience, this can all be specified right here and is automatically saved as soon as you're done typing. You can be rest assured that the AI agent also knows who the guest is based on the guest profile that it has. So it can always take the context of the guest, what their language is, what their age is, and use that to include these instructions in that. If we move downwards, we have the FAQ knowledge base right here. This is the knowledge base that we have set up for you and that you've also probably built upon in the past for all the pieces of information about the hotel that the guest gets access to when they're interacting with the AI agent. On the left side, the first column are the questions. On the right side are the answers. I think it's good to reiterate that these answers are just the actual units of knowledge, and this is not the exact formulation of how the agent speaks to the guest when they're answering a question. So certain segments or certain pieces of information, like do we have a swimming pool? If you just write down no, the guest will not just the AI agent will not just answer no. It will formulate this in the right context with a properly written out message so that the guest actually has a conversational message flow with the AI agent. On the right side, you will also now see the question and answer types, which means like by default, each one of these rows is a text answer, which means the guest asks a question and they get a text answer, which is formulated around the information that you specify right here. However, you can decide to enhance the actions related to these rows based on if an action actually needs to occur. So here on the top side, we see that breakfast is something that the hotel offers. So you can then decide to turn this from a text answer, which would maybe normally be, yes, we offer breakfast, and you have to request this to a staff member at the front desk. You can turn this into an add-on or a request. I'll specify the distinction in a second. And once you select an add-on, you'll get an option and a drop-down of all the different products that you guys already have within your PMS system. And you can just select this. And as soon as the guest requests anything with regards to breakfast, the AI agent will ask them if they want to add this to their stay. This will only be added or offered to them if that product has not already been added to their stay before. So in that sense, it's fully dynamic based on who the guest is, and it knows the context. If you were to change this to request, then this would always turn into a requestable item where your team would still have to approve it. And this would end up in the approvable request page right here where you guys can manage all the requests that are still open, and your team would receive an email to notify that this request is still open and somebody needs to jump in. The last two segments that are relevant are instant staff trigger and a button flow. The instant staff trigger, this is more, so we can maybe scroll all the way down. So as you see here, we already have a default set of instant staff triggers. These are all the elements and signals that a guest creates within the chat that lets the AI know that, okay, the AI should not answer this. a staff member should receive a direct notification, and this has to be handled by a staff member. There shouldn't even be a confirmation to ask if they want to talk to a staff member. It should directly already notify your team. So you can maybe go through this and see if there are any things that are less urgent than you think. But anything with regards to a guest being in distress, wanting to leave a bad review, having an issue or problem, we've by default already set that to an instant staff trigger, meaning that a real life staff member would receive a notification and can jump in to resolve the issue, because that is often too sensitive for the AI to handle. The last element is the button flow. So we have created a separate screen, which we'll also handle in a separate video, button flows that can be created. These are very powerful to be able to guide the guests to discover new information themselves. So for instance, if a guest asks what are the best restaurants in the neighborhood, instead of sending a very long list of information, they will receive a new set of buttons within WhatsApp or within the web chat that allows the guest to go through a flow of more information about each one restaurant. So each button could, for instance, be one restaurant that you guys recommend, but each button could also, for instance, be a category of restaurants and suggestions. And once they click that button, they're brought to a new flow with more information. So once you turn a certain question into a button, you'll receive a drop down of all the different button flows that we've already pre-configured. And then the separate screen, you can start building those button flows yourself, which, as I said, we will cover in a separate session. One last important detail, you can, of course, always add new questions. So in a similar way that you would edit existing questions, you can here specify a question that triggers the action, the answer that is related to what the action encompasses with the information that the guest needs to receive, and the specific type of action, if it's just an answer or an add-on or a button or an instant staff trigger. If there are any further questions, of course, you can reach out to our team. In the next video, we will cover the button flows with regards to the AI chat in WhatsApp and in the web chat modules. And in a separate video, we will handle the I don't knows, where you can continuously let your AI chat learn and add the questions that they did not know when they were interacting with your guests, so that you can just build a better knowledge base over time. See you next time.